Now, our fourth speaker this evening is Maqsood Ahmad OBE. He's the new Chief Executive Officer of the British Muslim Heritage Centre and brings 20 years' experience of successfully implementing policies and providing strategic direction on behalf of various boards. He joined from Greater Manchester Health and Social Care Partnership, the Strategic Clinical Networks, a senior manager responsible for mental health, dementia, diabetes and cardiovascular disease, tackling health inequalities. He is also experiencing cohort director of the Nye Bevan Leadership Programme for the University of Manchester. He led on the implementation of the Stephen Lawrence Inquiry and was on the steering group of the Runnymede Trust. He has been appointed as the non-executive director of the Pennine Care NHS Foundation Trust. Mahmood Ahmad.
First of all, can I start by thanking everybody for inviting me? I think this is a very, very important area that we are discussing today. And I want to thank each and individual, every one of you, because it's very difficult to keep challenging hate crimes and tackling whether it's anti-Semitism or Islamophobia or any other hate towards persons' color of the skin. And we need ambassadors within our society to continue to actually tackle this evil, as I call it in one sense. I've been a Muslim all my life. I've been a person of color all my life. And my experience of living in Britain has been 90% absolutely fantastic. It's a lovely country. It's the best country to live in as a Muslim. There is no restrictions on me going to the mosque, keeping fast, keeping a beard if I wish to keep a beard and so forth from that side of it in comparison to the countries. So it's a wonderful country overall. Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect. Has it got issues with Islamophobia? Yes, it has. The other 10% of it, which I want to correct, is basically about the experience of Muslims, British Muslims living in Britain. My early experience of being subject to hate crime when I was going to school in the 80s and late sort of early 90s, walking down the streets and being called the P word and so words, being spat at, to the recent cases of Muslim women who wear the hijab when they go to the town or they go to the park and getting spat at. It hasn't gone away, this hatred for somebody else's because they dress different, because they have a different faith. Being called a terrorist on a regular basis is not nice, to say the least, in a sense. Go back to your own countries, whatever that means, whichever country we come from. These are the realities of British Muslims on a regular basis. So we should never underestimate the hateful issues of Islamophobia or even anti-Semitism because of what the Jewish community go through. So I can relate to the Jewish community and I can relate to Black people when it comes to being hateful or being hated, in a sense, on it by extreme right-wing organizations. The other thing that we need to be also careful about is that there are a number of organizations, and I won't name them at the moment, that are purely established because they hate Muslims in our society, in the modern society. And you know most of them, which ones they are. And that causes us problems when it comes to these things. So we are in a very serious issue that we're tackling when it comes to Islamophobia. I'm not going to start talking about the definition of Islamophobia. I think Afzal has already highlighted that. And I don't want it to be a deflection. I want to focus on the realities of people, whether you want to call it Islamophobia or anti-Muslimness or whatever you want to call it. The impact of Islamophobia and anti-Muslimness is exactly the same. It's the hatred for that individual because they follow Islam, because they look different, because they wear a hijab. That's the impact of it. As academics and professionals, we can talk about terminology till the cows come home. It won't make a damn difference to anybody else. But if the Muslim community is saying that Islamophobia is a definition that we accept, or a majority of them do, then I just wish and I hope that our politician will just accept that and move forward. Most of us accepted that, so that's what I think the government, my advice, that's what the government needs to do. You've asked me to look at basically what have we been doing as the centre, what practical things have we brought in to promote better understanding to tackle Islamophobia. Well, the vision of the British Muslim Heritage Centre is to be a centre of excellence for learning and development that promotes Muslim heritage, the empowerment of development of the Muslim community, and foster good relations between Muslims and other faith groups, including diverse communities without a faith. So all the three strands of the vision are very relevant when it comes to actually tackling hate, in a sense, on it. So some of the things that we've been doing before the lockdown is that we've started to have a debate and a discussion with the local authorities. Now I'm going to give you some practical examples, because we know that Islamophobia exists, that hate exists, and anti-Semitism exists. You know, I'm not going to produce stats and things like that with regards towards it, but what do we do in practice is the most important thing. How do we bring people together that will make a difference is the most important thing. So we started to tackle and start working with the local authority, Manchester Council and the other boroughs. And we started having conferences and workshops and seminars. And this is one of the conferences that we had when I first started about 12, 18 months ago now, basically, in a sense. And you can see our MP there, Afzal Khan, speaking, and there were Councillor Abd Namaz and other elected members. It's very important from my point of view that the elected members, the decision makers, the chief executives, the non-Muslims are actually involved in this debate about Islamophobia and how do we tackle that. And we brought people together from the NHS, from the local authority, from the voluntary sector. They're all there, Muslims and non-Muslim, just to start that debate through this conference. And that conference led to actually lots of other initiatives within the public services, because the public services is an agency that should be also taking a lead in this. The British Muslim Heritage Centre and the Jewish Forum and the other good people cannot tackle hate crimes, including Islamophobia, on our own. We need the help of our public services and the private sector and the voluntary sector. So we put a lot of time and energy in networking with the public services and the voluntary sector, the non-Muslims as well as the Muslims. So that's just one example, really, with regards to what we do. Every year before the lockdown, we used to have community iftars. Now that was an opportunity for us to bring people together again, non-Muslims, Jewish people, Sikhs and Hindus and the others, to open at the iftar with us at the center in itself, and also to have a dialogue. And this is just one of the examples that we gave you when I first started. This community iftar brought in around about 200 people from all backgrounds, from all genders and so forth, from that side of it. And it's an opportunity not only open the fast to get to know Islam a lot better, but also to have a positive and proactive dialogue. Because if we really want to eradicate hate and misunderstanding, the best way to do that is actually bringing people together on a regular basis. So every year we have a community iftar. Sadly, we couldn't do it this year because of COVID-19, but once the lockdown's over and we're back to some sort of normality, this community iftar will start again from us, because it was very popular and it brought people together. And the center is very fortunate because we have some really good high profile people that attend the center, that come and visit us. And we take that opportunity again to invite non-Muslims as well as Sikhs and Hindus and our Jewish colleagues to the center. So this is Prince Charles when he came, I think it was on the 3rd of April in 2019 when I first started. And what you don't see is the large hall where there's lots of people that he met. Again, that was an opportunity for us to do better understanding. So this is one just example. We have ambassadors that come on a regular basis and we invite people in. So we use high profile people to bring people together from all faiths and non-faiths as well. So that's one example that I'm giving you there that the center has done. And of course, for us, we also need to help and support others. And this is the Holocaust Memorial in London in 2019 that we also helped and supported with regards to and attended in London with the other faith groups as well to actually support the Jewish community. And for the first time, the center, we also hosted the Holocaust Memorial in the center itself. And I thought that was the best thing that we did, because trying to promote better understanding between the Jewish community and the Muslim community. It wasn't an easy thing to do in a sense on it. We did get criticism from some sections of the community, but majority of the people were actually very, very supportive of that, where we had school children coming in, Manchester City Council, Councillor Ali Rab Nawaz was there. So again, this is another example of using the events that are taking place around us to bring people together. And for us as a British Muslim Heritage Centre and Muslims to take part in others who are remembering the awful and horrific genocides that took place with the Jewish community and so forth from that side. We also do community open days before the lockdown. Every month it's an opportunity for non-Muslims to come to the centre, visit the House of Wisdom, visit the stories of sacrifice, the contribution of Muslims. It's a very, very popular month where people come in, and we had over 420 visitors a year on the open days that we attracted. Very popular month really, so we can't wait to get that going again. It's an opportunity for people to come and ask questions and have debates, discussions about different faiths or non-faiths. You see there one of our volunteers actually on the right-hand side, Mohammed, who basically organizes the monthly sort of community open days. We're also working with other faith communities like the Christians and Jewish and the others, and African Caribbean community, and that's the Faith Charter, the Greater Manchester Faith Charter, which the Mayor is also involved in, again to show that the Muslim community in Greater Manchester are not standing isolated on their own. They are part and parcel of a wider multi-faith group, faith network, and we want to be part of that. We want to support the African Caribbean churches and the Christians and others. So we do some joint activities with the cathedral and so forth from that side. So this is a charter of faith, how we can work together. And the public services, I've mentioned that before, and this is just another example of where we are invited into the army on a regular basis and local authorities, where we have a discussion about Islam and the challenges that the Muslims are facing, the British Muslims are facing within Greater Manchester and the United Kingdom. And these are regular, or used to be before the lockdown, regular sort of every 6 months workshops with the army, with the police service, with the local authority and so forth from that angle. Again, it's an opportunity for us to go outside and have a debate with local authorities and public services. After the lockdown, we've started to continue to do that work, and issues around highlight Islamophobia and anti-Muslimness is with regards to through the webinars. And this is again was hosted by Afzal Khan and ourselves, where we highlighted the plight of the Uyghurs in China. Again, this is a very, very serious issue for us to take forward, and not only just what's happening in Greater Manchester or United Kingdom, but also highlighting the issues of hate around the world. And the Uyghurs is one of the areas where we've started to campaign on and help and support them as much as we can from that side. We have a radio station at the centre. Those who haven't been there, we're using the radio station and TV, YouTube now to get the message up, to promote better understanding between young people and non-Muslims, etc., so forth. And that's been quite active within the last sort of 8 to 9 months since we started the lockdown. And we were also invited to have discussions and talks with local authority, because I feel that after 12 months being at the British Muslim Heritage Centre, it's crucial for us to develop our relationship with the local authorities, whether it's the police service, whether it's actually the NHS, or whether it's the army and the others. And this is recently, this month, we were invited to talk to the quality leads of the local authorities of the 10 boroughs, just to see how we can help each other and how we can promote better understanding of Islam and good relations between different faiths and non-faiths. And that was a webinar as well. So we started to do lots of webinars to keep what we used to do before the lockdown, when we used to bring people in. Now we're going to the people through the webinars, and that's a new way of working, I suppose, for us. But we've started to do that quite effectively in a sense. And we do publications, so simple things like, you know, what is Islam? The question that everybody wanted to ask but dared to ask. It's a free publication. Please, if you need one, just let me know. We'll send it to you or come to the center and pick it up. And that answers most of the questions that people sometimes wonder, to demystify what Islam and Muslims are. So we do lots of publications as well. I'll stop there because I think I had 10 minutes, so I've probably gone a little bit over. My apologies for that. But I just want to thank you again for keeping this good work up, whether it's anti-Semitism that we're fighting and challenging, or Islamophobia, or any other hate crime, because, you know, subjected to hate is something that I wouldn't want anyone to go through, because I know what it's like. I've been through there and I face it on a regular basis. And I think if we can actually make our country that 10% where the gap is, make it more inclusive, make it more better, it's going to be better for all of us. Thank you very much.